market at a record pace right now, just as the S&P is now lower for the week. What's going on? Is America no longer the safe haven? Larry Winget says, don't panic. These fears are overblown. Larry, in addition to the stock market last year, foreign investors sold over $200 billion of our bonds. Before, in rough economic times, everyone was depositing their money here.
Yeah, that's true, Charles. You're absolutely right. But listen, people should never panic. We never make a good decision when we're in a panic mode. We need to be a little more logical. This is all long term. I have a lot of individuals come to me and say, what should I do? Take a deep breath. That's what you ought to do. I never panic. I never look at my stuff every day, every quarter. I look at it yearly because I understand some years are good, some years are horrible, some years are kind of okay. But overall, I always make money. So what I do on a personal basis is I stay calm and I look at what I've got. I make sure I'm diversified. I rebalance to make sure that as I get older, I'm not quite as aggressive as I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even last year. That's what people really need to be doing on an individual basis.
You know, I love what you're saying, and I agree with you. I think the problem, though, is this sort of short-term knee-jerk reactions. They're extraordinary. A company misses earnings by a penny and loses 20% of its value. The average person at home who's not necessarily fixed for retirement, they're going day by day. It's tough to tell them to be cool, to relax and look at the long-term picture.
You know, you're absolutely right about that, too. Listen, half the people in our country are not even in the market. And so I don't think it's going to be the market that hurts most folks. I think what's going to hurt people is when you look at the fact that credit card spending is about to reach an all-time high. We got credit card debt approaching $1 billion. 2/3 of our country doesn't use a budget at all. People have more confidence, but their savings is down. And most people don't have enough money on hand to buy a new set of tires or a water heater. People shouldn't panic. They ought to get a plan.
But that plan, though, Larry, by the way, we're getting almost at $1 trillion, right, on the credit card debt. That plan would include a certain amount of discipline. And I think what people have done in this country is that they've looked around. For instance, if you look at how we view large institutions over the last 2 or 3 decades, we don't see any large institutions out there looking out for us on our behalf. I don't think people care about the future or don't believe in it enough to even be disciplined to the point that they're going to have a budget and save and do those things anymore.
Well, you see, that ought to be an indication to them that they ought to become a little more involved on a personal level. They ought to adjust their personal lifestyle. They've got to stop looking to Wall Street and to the government and to the big companies. I do believe what you said is true, that trust is way down. I don't trust anybody but me. I know I can control my lifestyle. I can control my spending, my saving, my amount of indebtedness. I can count on me to do the right thing, but that does require a lot of discipline.
It does require a lot of discipline. You know, what's interesting, yesterday I think we had Smucker's and Church & Dwight, both at all-time highs in the stock market. 2 companies created in the late 1800s, peanut butter and jelly and baking soda. I mean, who would ever think, listen, let me just put my money in that? Isn't that another part of the plan, is when people do finally invest, they want to hit it out of the park with some hot new technology they don't even understand?
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't invest in stuff I don't know what it is. I like the fact that I used to be able to drive down the highway and there was a Smucker's down the highway over there, and I can count on that name. I remember that name. I trust that name. You're right. Peanut butter and jelly isn't as sexy as technology, but sometimes it makes a whole lot more sense.
And by the way, man, I've watched you over the last 10 years. You look better now than then, so don't adjust the portfolio. I think you're getting younger.
Trust us old guys, right?
Yeah, there you go. All right, Larry, have a great weekend, buddy.
Hey, thanks, you too.
Donald Trump expected to make a speech at